We ready? No itchy scratchy? You're so weird,
Okay.
man. All right, in 5, 4,
Stop my count yet.
3, 2, and 1. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on our official podcast. We decided to come up with a name and kind of make it official, and it is The Boys Talk Stuff. We're pretty much known as The Boys, and always have been known as The Boys.
Just keep going.
and, and so we just came up with the name The Boys Talk Stuff. And so this is Austin, a.k.a. Austin Boss. I'm Randy. And what are you trying not to say?
Well, you're going and I was moving my phone and I just went and I just like smacked the thing.
Oh, that's probably going to make a big noise inside. So
Yeah.
if you hear a big thump, that was because he messed up the sound. So it is a good day,
Bad day.
bad day.
Both.
Yeah, kind of a good bad day. It is Super Bowl Sunday, and yeah, it's the end of Super Bowl. I mean, it's the end of football season, and it's something that we,
I have to wait 6 months, 7 months
yeah, something like that. But
to start back up.
yeah, but it's sad mainly because it's kind of our thing. It's what we do. We probably should have started the podcast a lot this obviously in the season. And then we'll be ready for
Yay,
next
we have
year.
one game.
Yeah, one game. Well, we talked about other games.
Well, this is our trial, and then we can get all the fame, and then everybody's waiting for us
All
to
the
come
fame.
back.
That's right, guys. Give us all the fame. Bring the fame, right?
And
Bring
then
the
next
fame.
year, we'll be back and ready.
We'll be back and we'll be ready. And we'll be seasoned veterans with you can get water on your face. We'll be seasoned veterans in this game with what? We got to put it out in the universe. How many subscribers we gonna have? How many followers we gonna have listening to our podcast next
season,
season?
50,000.
Okay, like really, you really don't have the mama mentality going for 50. So going for 50 followers by next September. So if nothing else, we got to have at least 51. So yeah, so it's Super Bowl Sunday, and so we're kind of filming this. You see, Oz got his Niners Jerry Rice on, and so yeah, so let's get at it. So what do you before we get into the Super Bowl? What do you think? What do you think about the season?
I think it was a good season. There was a lot of change in the off season. There was just a lot of controversy, starting with the Antonio Brown, and then at the beginning of the season with Stephon Diggs wanting to be traded, and then Jalen Ramsey getting traded to the Rams. There was just a lot of stuff
But
going on.
even the controversy about that, I mean, that was just controversy. Like,
yeah,
you know,
he was like, I want to.
dude's like,
I don't want to be here.
My leg hurts. I'm not playing today. Like, we just, and you know, there's a lot of people that will look at that, you know, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people that disrespect, I think, don't give these athletes the respect that they deserve, and they only look at them as these objects on the field. And so, you know, and so did the owners. You know, they kind of felt like that, and now I feel like these dudes are understanding their worth, and they understand that they are the product, and they can make these demands. Now, I'm not one to think, you know, that a guy should be able to just do what he wants and feel like
like I'm the one selling the merchandise.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't think that they should feel like they should have that much power. It is a team. Without a team, you're nothing. But without the players, the team's nothing. And so I like the fact that these guys are standing up for themselves. They know their worth. They know where they want to be. I do believe that once you sign a contract, as long as everybody's upholding that contract, you know,
you should respect
that contract. So I'm not saying, you know, guys should be able to sign a, you know, 5-year contract and then go, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore. Unless it's detrimental to they feel like it's detrimental to their career. Yeah, to their career, yeah. Or you're just not getting along or whatever, you know what I mean?
There's something going along with you and the owner, like Antonio Brown.
Because like everything else, I mean, almost at any time they could fire him. You know, and that's the part people don't really realize is like, everybody go, oh, he shouldn't do that. He should uphold his
part of the deal.
part of the deal. But then, you know, the owners can fire them or they can cut them, and nobody stands up and goes, wait a minute, you know, you had a deal with that guy. You know, so, you know, it's so, yeah, and then, you know, there was the Ezekiel Elliott controversy. I mean, he held out. What do you think about that?
Same thing that happened with, like, Earl Thomas last year, where they were like, we're just going to do a week-to-week contract because we don't know what we're going to do yet, and then he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That was one. And then now he's on the Ravens.
When he flicked off everything.
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Although I love Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. Yeah. That was a classic football moment. So Ezekiel Elliott, do you think he made a case for himself? You know, holding out and then having the season he had, did he make himself look bad and make himself look good? I mean, you know, did he do the right thing?
Well, I think every team was coming in thinking, oh, we have to stop Zeke. Because, I mean, Amari Cooper he's doing good, but I think everybody's main factor was make sure they can't run Zeke. And I think they did a good job of doing that. So I think Zeke definitely helped them a lot because teams were coming in, their game plan stopping Zeke, so they might have been able to pass because they weren't expecting it. And so I think he helped, but it just wasn't really looking like it.
So it's almost like a safety or a cornerback who shuts off half the field, like Deion. It doesn't.
Not like that. Almost just like.
No, it does. I mean, that's what it is.
I mean, like Aaron Donald this season. You didn't really see much of him, but it's because he was getting triple guarded.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it let the other back.
Just his presence. His presence alone changes the game. Mm-hmm. But at the kind of money that they gave Z.
Didn't they give him what'd they give him? 140. I think Dak was winning like 140.
Yeah, but whatever money they gave him, they gave him a lot of money. And they gave him a lot of guaranteed money, which is new.
They gave him like 60, 70 million.
Are you supposed to overcome being double teamed or them setting up for the run for that kind of money?
Well, I think it can help just as much because, like I said, if they're like, okay, we're blitzing so he can run, Amari Cooper or Gallup, like any one of them can go deep, might be able to get open, and Dak can fling it, and they can get a touchdown.
True.
So I think even if he's not getting the yards, somebody else is. It's helping somebody else get the yards.
Yeah, but anybody, the Cowboys season, did anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, really, did anybody get the yards? I mean, you know,
Dak had a really good season though. If you look at the stats, he's had. Even the past couple of years, he's been having like very good stats. It's just not showing.
No, I agree. I like Dak, and I wish him success. And I do think that I think he's an elite quarterback, and I do. I mean, it's just a system, and I don't want to get into Cowboys talk right now. We can do that some other time.
What about the whole coach thing?
Yeah. Garrett should have been gone. Garrett should have been gone
a long
4
time
years
ago.
Yeah, I always said when the Cowboys went 0-3. They went 0-3. I think that was 14, 15. They went 0-3, and they came out and then they won 9 in a row, 10 in a row. I knew all they had done was bought themselves 3-4 more years of Romo and 3-4 more years of Garrett. I said it back then, like everybody's celebrating. Like, you guys didn't go anywhere, didn't win anything, and all you did was...
Wasn't that the year the controversy catch? They were like, oh, that's not a catch against the Packers?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I have no idea. I just know that put them in a position where Garrett wasn't going anywhere. So I just say Garrett should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so, again, I don't want to necessarily get into Cowboy talk, but, you know, Amari... For me, I think Amari was a disappointment. You know, I was hoping he would be a bigger factor on the field.
Definitely.
And
coming from
I don't want to say disappointment. I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed in these guys. I just don't think.
Yeah, they're pros.
Yeah, they're pros. Exactly. So it's not a disappointment. I just think he didn't perform to the level I thought he was going to
Or most
perform
people
with.
thought he was going to.
Yeah. So
Maybe it was because maybe like the Raiders, they didn't have much other talent. They didn't really have. They had Cleo Mack on defense, but they didn't have much talent on
Right.
offense. And I think even Derek Carr's a little overrated. So Amari was the main factor, and
he's gone. Yeah.
yeah, and so he left and he goes to the Cowboys, where they have Dak, Zeke, and Amari, and then like pretty good O line, and then a couple of
Well, I think
other receivers. And
I
it's like,
honestly think the Cowboys came in with, on paper, while coming into the season, I think they came in with what looked to be the strongest team.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I really think they came into what appeared on paper to be the strongest team, and that was on paper. That was before we saw who worked out how in the offseason. And so
I think the Chiefs, who obviously panned out. I mean, Mahomes, Tyrann Mathieu, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and then the rookie McCole Hardman. Like, I think he was one of the biggest rookies.
right.
And so, I don't know. I think he was definitely a big factor.
All right. So real quick, let's talk about AB real fast. What's your thoughts on that whole deal?
I think, I don't know if he's going to come back. I don't think so. I think he's done too much to really make a true comeback to the league. I think somebody might pick him up, but I don't think he'll be the same. And I think it will be in like he does get picked up, it'll be in 3 years, 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years?
Maybe even longer.
I don't know if it's going to take 2 to 3 years. I don't think it'll be next year. I just don't think you'll be able to convince people that he's well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I watched it, mentally. I watched that interview. I haven't watched the Kevin Hart interview, but I watched that interview with him the other day, and you could just see in his eyes, like he's trying. I don't know if anybody told him what to say. That's when he was like, I need to apologize to the whole league. But I personally feel like you can see mental illness in his eyes. And I think it's going to take, I'm glad that a lot of people want to help him.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a few things that's happened recently. What's that guy's name? Delonte West, the basketball player that used to play here, that was getting beat up in the street, and then they recorded him. And, apparently, I didn't know the story. Apparently, him and LeBron James had some big issues. Mm-hmm. And LeBron came out and said, I will pay whatever it takes for him to get healthy. And I think that one of our bigger problems with mental health is that we think it's funny, and we think that it's just bad behavior. Mm-hmm. And it's not until it gets really bad that people admit, that people realize and understand that, okay, this is mental illness. And then, so I think he may have gone a little bit too far, for him to come back next year, mm-hmm. and especially going into the off season. I think that he, he's going to have to prove himself through a whole season that he's well before somebody. But I think people are chopping at the bits to get to him. In other words, they really want to get to him, and they want him. But he's going to have to prove himself, stay out of trouble for the next year or so, get some counseling, get some help, and prove that he is better.
Mm-hmm. And it honestly sucks because, like, what is it, bipolar? I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like 1 week he'll be like, the NFL is, I put my whole life into this, and then they're just going to treat me like this. How can they do this to me? And then the next week it's like, oh, I'm so sorry to everything I've said about the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's like on and off. So it's almost like he's bipolar, but I think it's just something happened, and I think I don't know, just something happened to him.
Well, he had a horrible childhood. Like literally like homeless type childhood. Really a lot of abuse from what I understand. Yeah. I mean, again, it's easy to sit up and look at him when he's going through all of his stuff and just be like, that's a shame. And to think about how much money he's making and criticize him. But, money doesn't wash away those issues. And that's what makes really a lot of these guys, especially in basketball, And football, what makes those guys so amazing is that if you hear their stories, the fact that these guys became elite athletes,
like top level.
yeah, and with their backgrounds,
Yeah.
with the backgrounds they had, it really is.
And it's almost like that for everybody. You don't hear an NFL player like, oh yeah, my dad was rich. When we grew up, I was super wealthy. Really didn't have to do much. I just liked the game of football. So like you don't hear that much. It's always like my parents weren't very wealthy as a child. I had to work my
Especially
butt
not the black players.
Yeah,
Lamar. And I think a lot of the white linemen, I think, come from that kind of background. I think some of the key, what they call position players, white position players a lot of times come from upper level, upper to middle class to wealthier backgrounds. But I think those linemen are in the trenches, and they have some of the most incredible stories, just like a lot of the black players, know. And so, anyway, hopefully you get some help. More than anything, I don't care if he ever sees a football field again, other than the fact that that's what's going to make him complete, as long as he gets some help.
Do you think he would, if the XFL picked him up, he would pan out in there? Do you think he would be a good addition? Do you think that would drag more people to watch XFL?
I don't know if it would drag more people to watch XFL. I don't want to see him in XFL, not for the first 2 seasons, because if the XFL is anything like the XFL was the first time, it's more exhibition. It's going to give him a chance to
get back
to act out.
Well, do you think if he went into the XFL, got a couple seasons back to playing, and then he can move back up to NFL? Do you think?
Yeah, as long as his head's right. But I think the XFL could possibly
just make it worse.
Could possibly give him it's just going to give him a platform to act out like that, because that's what they want. That at least the last time they came around, that is what it was. All right. So now we got XFL. Thoughts?
I don't think. Obviously, not as big as the NFL.
Well, no, definitely not.
Yet.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yes.
You are?
Because he'll give me just football to watch. It might not be NFL, but it's still, if I can get into it, it'll just kind of just be like
a buffer to NFL.
Just like a down league, just like a B league kind of.
Yeah, I think that probably should be part of our podcast. Like if we can really get into XFL and get to know the players and know the teams and follow it, I think it can still give us something to talk about as far as football. I was a fan
of the XFL
of it the first time. I think it was killed before it even started.
Everybody was like, "Oh no, you can't."
Yeah,
this is
everybody. They didn't want any parts of it, and I think the thing that was unfair is that it's one thing for fans to think that, but I think it's wrong and it's not responsible when the media does it, right? Just because it was, linked to WW. I think it was WWF at the time still. Maybe it was WWE.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Automatically, people, just to let you know, we had to stop. So that's why his bottle magically got water in it. So if you was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was almost empty.
I think, they started criticizing it before it even happened, right? And they had already set their position. So even when it started, which they did some incredible things. They were the first ones to have a steady cam.
Yeah.
Like there was a dude who was crazy in shape who had the old school big harness steady cam who was running down the field next to players. Yeah. And they were the first ones to have that. They were the first ones to do the spider cam, which is the camera that goes across the middle of the field. Yeah. They were the first ones to do that. And they even had cameramen on the field. Yeah. And
NFL took that from them.
NFL took the spider cam, and so it was dead before it started because I think so many people had put so much negative out against it that even though it was, let's just say it was palatable, it was worth watching, they couldn't backtrack on their words. And so it ended up just kind of folding.
This is kind of off topic, but do you know what it stands for? What's the X?
Extreme Football
really?
League.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's Extreme Football League, I believe. Let's go with that for right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think any like former NFL players will come? Like we were talking about Antonio Brown. I mean, Colin Kaepernick. Do you think? I think if Colin Kaepernick went to XFL, he could maybe, if he is still in shape, or he's still in shape but still in football shape. Do you think he could like prove himself in XFL that he could come back to NFL?
Do I think he could?
Or do you think he could?
Yeah.
But
no, I think he could.
There's a higher chance.
I think he could. I think the XFL have to be really careful right now
About who they pick up and what they do.
Yeah, because what I hope they learn from the first time is that they can't be viewed as a circus act, and I think that they were viewed as a circus act, and
just
so
as
I think if you bring in AB, if you bring in Kaepernick, if you bring in kind of some bad actor type people, and Kaepernick's not a bad actor, but he's seen as a media circus.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, let's just say that if you bring in a lot of people that has a media circus around them, there's a good chance you're going to be viewed as a circus. You can't bring in the animals and not be viewed, or
Yeah.
I don't want to say the clowns, but yeah, you can't bring in the clowns and not be viewed as a circus.
Yeah.
And so
who people see as the clowns.
People see that, and so that's why I don't think that they should do that. I don't want to go into a whole bunch of Kaepernick talk right now, but I do believe after the whole last incident, which I think Kaepernick was 100% in the right about what he did.
Yeah.
I think that was the end of it, because I think that was literally. I think the NFL and Goodell set that up to be a absolutely no-lose situation for them. They couldn't lose. If he performed well,
They take the bad.
Yeah, they could say that they was giving him a chance. If they did bad, they could say, "See, we gave him a chance." I think it was a no-lose situation. And then when they put all the different wording in there, and he went off on his own, and it just became a media circus again. That it was at that point we're I think Kaepernick won in the sense that people who like him and believe in him looked and said he still has it, he can still play, we still back him. I think the people who don't like him can say, look, he had his chance and look what he did.
Yeah.
And they're wrong because he didn't have an honest chance.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point where they are able now to part ways, and I don't think a lot of people. There was a lot of places this year. There was a lot of positions open, and a lot of spots where Kaepernick could have come out.
Like the Steelers, Mason Rudolph, he wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I think Kaepernick definitely would have been a better option. And
yeah. He was definitely better options, and that just lets you know
that's
that it was time. And I think it's time. I think it's time for him to move on. I think he can do a lot better.
I don't know if it was the Steelers, but there was a certain team, and their QB got hurt. It might have been the Steelers, and they went and traded for somebody just so they could get have a different.
Yeah, I forgot who that was. They could have easily pulled him in. I think. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, but yeah, I mean, there was teams picking up other people off the street.
Yeah,
they could have definitely pulled him in just to see. Even if he would have came in as a backup, somebody. I mean, there was one team playing with a third string and had no backup to the third string.
Jets.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold got hurt. The goat.
The goat.
And so, and then their second string, the next game got hurt, and then the third string was in.
And they said if he would have gotten hurt, the kicker would have had to play.
Kicker would have had to play.
So I don't know. Again, I don't want to get into Kaepernick talk, but. It's so I hope he doesn't go to XFL. I really hope the XFL does well. I'm the rules. If we looked over the rules and stuff, and they got some really interesting rules to try to make the game more exciting.
Double forward pass thing. I don't even know what that's gonna be. Is it gonna be like you can throw it downfield and then they can catch it and
throw it downfield? That would be interesting.
Or
so
maybe it's gonna be like they throw it forward, but as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage, they can throw it again. So if like they had it, so they snap it, and they're behind, they throw it to their running back, also in front, and then
he throws it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't get a chance to read all that. So I read more of the safety rules, like the kickoff rule and things like that, where they're trying to make it more exciting yet
more safe,
but safer. So anyway,
I have two things real quick.
Go ahead.
First of all, Bridgewater. What do you think is going to happen with Bridgewater? Do you think he's going to try to stay in New Orleans?
I do.
Do you think he should?
I do. Both. I believe.
Okay, if Breeze retired this year, do they play Taysom Hill or Bridgewater?
Hill's not an option.
Everybody is saying Hill. I don't agree with that.
That's because everybody gets caught up in the hoopla. It's one thing to run a wild, the hoopla, the hype. Yeah, it's one thing to run a wildcat. It's another thing to come in there, but to be the quarterback, play after play, game after game, play after play, that's a little hard. And I don't think he's ready for that yet. I like the dude. I mean, honestly, I do believe that he could very well have been most valuable because he did a lot of most valuable type stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's ready for that. I think Bridgewater has proved himself. He's
yeah, that's part of it. I don't think Taysom Hill, he did really good. He didn't do, I don't think, even anything bad, but he didn't play enough to show that he really, like, he did a lot of Wildcats, which almost always worked. And then he had that pass in the Vikings game where he hurled it downfield. It was like 30, 40-something yard pass, and it was like right on the dot. But still, I think.
No, 100%. So I think Bridgewater I think he's going to stay. And I think that he is going to, because Miami offered him a pretty good deal last year. He said
really?
no. Yeah, he said I want to stay in New Orleans. Now he sees himself being closer to being a starter.
Mm-hmm. Especially since
1 year he could sit back there another year. Mm-hmm. He's not taking hits. He's only getting better. He's learning from one of the best. He's in a great place. He's in a place that's going to embrace him. He's in a place that's going to embrace him. And so I think it's going to be worthwhile for him to sit. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater, he doesn't come off as the type of person that's going to chase money, right? I think he comes off as the kind of person who's willing to sit back and wait for the opportunity for him. So, yeah, I do think he's going to stay, and I think he's going to be the next quarterback for the Saints. So, yeah, I do think Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to stay where he is
right now.
Yeah, and I think that's really the best thing for him personally.
Well, do you think when he got hurt, what was that, 3 years back? I think it was like 4 years back.
No, I think it was 2.
2?
2, yeah. I think it was 2.
No, I'm pretty sure it was more than that.
Okay. We can look it up, yeah.
Yeah, so do you think if you wouldn't have got that hit, because wasn't that the hit where you got hit in the helmet and you got knocked out? Yeah, that was him.
No, I thought wasn't Teddy Bridgewater one that snapped his leg?
No, Alex Smith.
No, the black quarterback whose bone almost popped out of his leg.
That was basketball.
No,
Bridgewater was the one who got hit right in the head. He was sliding and somebody came and dove and hit him in the head.
All right, go ahead, keep talking.
And so do you think if that wouldn't have happened, do you think he would have panned out on the Vikings?
When that happened, let's see, Teddy Bridgewater injury. It's his left leg. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He tore his ACL and suffered structural damage, but that's the one. Remember, he got hit and his kneecap popped sideways. It was gruesome. It was one of those gruesome injuries. His kneecap popped out of place. It was like his leg snapped sideways, and it tore his ACL and dislocated his leg. Like they didn't think he was. Matter of fact, you remember they was talking about there was a chance he wouldn't be able to walk again, or they were talking about amputating his leg if they couldn't get blood flow back through his knees.
Okay, I'm not crazy because here's the video I was thinking.
Yeah, no, I know that.
This is what I thought. This is how I thought he got hurt. He got knocked out right here.
Yeah, no.
He got hit. He's sliding. That's what I thought.
No, dude. He was in practice and he got something happened and his knee popped sideways, like literally popped out the joint, and it tore his ACL. And yeah, they said it was gruesome. They said it was, and so yeah, they did. Like I said,
almost like the Cowboy. You remember that last year, the Cowboy who he was playing his foot like.
Oh yeah, turn back. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching.
Start dangling. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching when that happened, and I just I saw the play and I was like, wait, his foot looked weird, and then they showed the replay, and it was just.
Yeah, that always
was crazy.
horrible.
Yeah.
All right, so
and then the other thing I was about to say, do you think wouldn't it be crazy if like some of the retired players, so like Luke Kuechly or like Andrew Luck, who retired really early, like went into the XFL?
Yeah, Andrew Luck is done. Andrew Luck he's done. That we didn't even talk about that was a big shocker. Like again the AB stuff.
The other dude who was like at halftime, he was like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm about to head out." Yeah.
Was that this year?
Yeah, that was this year. He played for the Titans.
Yeah.
Or I think he played for the Titans. And he left, and then just the rest of the season, they were super good. It was funny.
No, he was like, so.
It was like a cornerback.
So, yeah, it was a weird year. It was a weird year, and then obviously the explosion of Lamar. Like, that was fun to watch.
Yeah. I took him on like 3 of my fantasy, or 2 out of 3 of my fantasy teams. And people were like, why are you taking Lamar? I was like, I think if my quarterback gets hurt, he'll be a good backup. And then the first game, I had Cam Newton starting, I remember. And he got like 12 points. And this was the game he won Lamar. It was the first game of the season. And he had perfect passer rating against the Dolphins. It was like 50 to something. I think they had like 49. It was crazy. And Lamar ended up having like 38. 37 points. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
Because I could have won my game.
Well, again, everybody's acting like Lamar just came out of nowhere. He had a great season last season. He just was running a lot.
12. He came in week 12. And his throw wasn't amazing.
No, we know his throwing wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he wasn't playing great.
Yeah.
As a running quarterback, he was
an elusive quarterback, yeah.
He was doing great. So, people want to knock him and say he wasn't throwing, and that makes sense. I know, right? People want to knock him and say he wasn't throwing, and that's true.
Yeah.
But let's not act like he was a scrub quarterback who all of a sudden just came out like Superman.
Yeah, like Minshew or something.
I don't know, man. I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not talking about it.
Well, I'm not saying anything bad about Minshew. I'm just saying he kind of came out of
nowhere.
Yeah,
he did come out of nowhere.
Same
and everybody
thing with
was
Daniel Jones.
Exactly.
He just came in.
Yeah, so I don't know why everybody was so shocked.
Same thing happened with Patrick Mahomes and Cam Newton. Cam Newton, not really. But that year they went to the Super Bowl and lost.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
he's never been the same since.
He had such an amazing season. The same thing happened for Mahomes last year. Yeah. It was just like something clicked. And I think that's how it was for Lamar. It was just...
Well, I think Lamar put in the work.
Like you said, it was... Yeah, definitely. But it's like the game was just in slow motion.
Yeah, that's
the game against the Rams, that was just crazy.
And that was a game, like I said, it just seemed like there was a cheat code. And we make fun of that. But I just remember watching him make decisions, and it just seemed like everything was in slow motion for him. And it looked like that.
Like he can just see the field, like all the field at once, like a Madden game.
Exactly. And so, I think his biggest problem right now is just that wobbly pass, And I don't hear a lot of people talking about
the precision passing and the Pro Bowl skills. Even then, like you can see.
You can see.
But even in his real games, if you look at some of his stats, or not stats, his highlights, like some of his throws is just not.
They just wobble. Now, again, if if the leap in his game came from hard work,
he put in a lot of hard work.
Yes, but we also have to believe like this season, off season, he's going to put in that same work.
Hopefully.
And it's going to straighten that ball out.
Yeah, I don't think he's a player to be like, oh, I had an amazing season. I'm obviously doing it right. I don't need to do anything.
And personally, look, I mean, I'm no expert, but when I was watching him throw the other day, it looks like he releases where his hand position is when he goes to put the spin on the ball. His hand is so far back that when he goes to spin it, it causes it to wobble compared to it being, if it was a little bit higher, it would be more in a center of gravity. That's what I saw in watching him pass. And hopefully that can be fixed. But, you know, he's been probably throwing the ball
like that
from there. Yeah. But hopefully it can be fixed. So, and again, you know, he's another one that it's not until he starts to show glimpse of being great that people go back and look at the videos. And then when you go back and look at videos from high school, you know, not his performance videos, like what he's saying, you realize that this dude wanted to be great from a long time ago.
Yeah.
He definitely, you know.
Who do you think had a better year, Lamar this year or Mahomes last year?
Oh, that's so hard because, you know, we only remember what was happening. But I do believe Mahomes was getting the same type of talk last year that Lamar was getting this year. I think the difference is Lamar
can run very well.
Well, so can Mahomes. Mahomes had some great runs. Lamar just looked like a video game this year.
Yeah, he...
You know,
juke spin,
break
7 tackles in one play. Like
you know, my thought, like that stutter move, that stall move he did
against
the Titans, trumped the move that he did, the spin move. Now you don't necessarily believe that, but I think if they would have won that game, that would have been the highlight when he did that stall move, looked the dude in the eyes, and then ran around him. I think that would have been.
That's when in the Titans versus Ravens game, it was like he ran and he juked a dude, and then he like did a back step and the dude missed, and he like kind of stopped and then he just took off again, almost like Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell,
he would just like run and then he would like in the middle of a pile and just like stop and then run to the outside and break for like 30, 40 yards, sometimes even a touchdown. It was just crazy to watch.
Yeah, he definitely. And I think that's what he just looked dynamic and was so much fun to watch. Like, Mahomes was fun to watch last year, but it was just a different level. And I just don't know if, you know, again, if he comes back and does it again, great. If he doesn't, we had that season. But I'm looking forward to him coming back.
Lamar this year had 3,127 passing yards, 36 touchdown throws, and 6 interceptions with a 113 passer rating. Last year, Mahomes, where is this? Of course, the last one. Mahomes had, here it is. He had 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, but 12 interceptions and 113.8. So the passer rating was right there, but of course, Mahomes didn't run like
Lamar did.
Yeah,
he just
and
didn't.
he made it to the division or conference.
Yeah,
one of the I forgot. Might get them mixed up.
The championship.
Yeah,
conference championship game.
And then he made it to the Super Bowl this year, and I think he very well could have last year. That game against them and the Patriots were just back and forth, and so. I don't know. I think what it looked like was Lamar had a better year, but I think you could argue that Mahomes had a better year
last year. All right,
11.
So yeah, sorry about that. We have to pause every once in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, we forget so fast. Like we forget how good
next year.
Next year probably be somebody.
I'm not going to say Dwayne Haskins because he just didn't have a great year. But some rookie doesn't even have to be like DK Metcalf or AJ Brown. They could come out next year. Or Kyler. Let's just say Kyler. he could come out next year and do what Lamar did because he won Rookie of the Year and he can run, and so he could come out next year do what Lamar or Mahomes did, and then people will be like, "Oh, we've never seen this before.
We've never seen this before."
But that's what they say every year.
Speaking of what we haven't seen before and what we have seen before, it's my belief that Metcalf can be the next Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
I mean,
he has the same body type. He can just jump over people. I don't know why he was a second-round pick.
He was just a freak of a specimen. Oh, he didn't run the cones fast. He didn't do good. He didn't cut through the cones fast, right? Like
he was a beast. He was just definitely like top 10 rookie this year.
I think so.
I think Nick Bosa. If it was like one rookie of the year, Nick Bosa came out and played like a superstar this year. And then their whole defense, the 49ers, we haven't even talked about like the Super Bowl game.
Yeah, we haven't. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to wrap it up. It's getting long.
But the 49ers are just, especially their defense is just like.
Well, let's save that. Let's save that for Super Bowl talk.
Yeah,
but so yeah,
and then
I think the person that I think people realize this year that I kind of saw last year, but unfortunately he got hurt again, is Van Der Esch. Like, that dude is hold on just a second. He call you right back. Van Der Esch, I think is one of the best defensemen
we've seen
out there.
Like coming into the league in a while, and then last year he got hurt.
Yeah, I think anybody would have had a time, and I just want to talk about the honors real fast, but I think he would have definitely been up there for Defensive Player of the Year. Van Der Esch would have if he wouldn't have gotten hurt again. And I just remember, like,
Gilmore had an amazing season, though. People didn't really realize, or I don't think you realized, but
no, I didn't actually.
Stephon Gilmore was just shut down. Revis Island. Whatever you want to say.
Whatever you want to say?
Yeah.
But I just want to touch on Van Der Esch real quick.
Yeah.
The one thing I am really happy about is that he wears that neck brace. Because it was a game, you didn't see it, we were watching, and I remember him getting hit almost in the forehead and watching his head just literally snap back. And
without that neck brace.
He
could have gone paralyzed.
I believe so. And so and he already has neck problems, so I'm really glad he's chosen to wear that, and I do think that it very well saved his career, if not saved his life. But
Shazier disappeared. That was crazy because that whole thing happened. Shazier he went paralyzed, and then for like a couple days it was like a big thing, and I haven't heard anything.
Oh
about that since.
No, I have.
Really?
Yeah, he actually works for the Steelers.
Oh really?
He's still on the payroll. He's still on the payroll. They still pay him his salary as a football player. Problem is his contract is up this year. This was the last year on his contract, and they didn't have to pay him, but they did.
That's cool.
And this is his last year, so hopefully, and I think that they will, give him some type of job within the organization that will at least continue his medical benefits. And
he could be maybe even a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, or an assistant to defensive coordinator, something like that. So they are taking care of him. So I'm really That's happy
good.
about that. So, we're getting a little long, and let's Super
Bowl.
Yeah, let's touch on the Super Bowl. So we are on Super Bowl Sunday, and do you want to talk about your thoughts, or do you want to tell your pick first and then go from there?
Thoughts first, and then go from there.
All right. So
I think the 49ers can get a good start. Or I think they need to get a good start if they want a chance to win.
What's a good start?
Just shutting down the offense, coming out and playing good or shutting down the Chiefs offense and then coming out and playing good with their offense. But even still, it's going to be very hard to beat the Chiefs because we saw the Texans come out and go up 24-0 in the second quarter, and there was this sucks. This is just gonna be a slaughtering. Just rest in peace, Chiefs. And then, and then,
yeah,
and then they came back and won 51 to 51
like
to
27 or
no,
something.
51 to 34. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, my heart of hearts tell me that this is not this is not going to be a surprise. That I mean, it's not going to be as close. That's what it tells my mind tells me that that Kansas City is going to run away with this. I know you don't believe that.
It's so hard for me to think that because I don't think you don't believe in the.
It's not that I don't believe in them. It's not that I don't believe in them. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I don't think it's going to be as close as they're making it out to be. But I do believe that. I believe we know right now it's set up to be Chiefs offense versus Niners defense. I think whoever shakes the other one up the first is going to win this game. I think if San Francisco's defense gets the upper hand in the beginning and shakes up Mahomes and shakes up the offense, like what happened to Cam Newton, I do believe they're going to win this game. But I believe if they start coming at Mahomes early and he starts throwing those short slants and getting out the pocket and, because now they're going to be exposed with a lot of one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. If he can expose their defense really early and get into their secondary real early with short passes and things like that, they're not going to be able to adjust.
Well, let's talk about experience.
Okay.
Because this is Mahomes' second year. Mm-hmm. You know who's been in for 6 years? And even just backing up Brady, like Brady's the GOAT, most people think, and I think. And so just backing up Brady, having that experience in the Super Bowl, knowing what it's like being there, just knowing like the platform, even if he's not playing, I think it's still just knowing the platform of it can help so much. And I think Mahomes might get there and not be like, whoa, I did not expect it. This isn't what I thought it would be. And so he might just be a little shaken up. But Garoppolo has that experience. So I think Garoppolo will perform. But I think Patrick Mahomes has the ability to perform as well as he has the whole season. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're right. I think we have to look at the depth, though. In general, which team is more experienced, first and foremost?
Well,
not just
they're both very young teams. Mahomes,
right.
Tyreek Hill, those are the two stars, I think, and then Tyrann Mathieu's a little older, but I think he's still in his prime about. So, and then the 49ers Nick Bosa, they have a lot of young talent. Just so Deebo Samuel
No, they do. But here's the deal. As far as that, with I would say with Mahomes seemed like an old soul to me. He doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like the event is going to be bigger. He seems like the type that's going to get there, shut down, study, overstudy, that kind of thing.
Do you think he's going to think of it too much?
Nope.
No?
I don't. That's the thing. I believe he is, I really believe that he has this maturity beyond his age that's going to help him get through this week. Very calm. That he's
confident.
Confident that, he's not going to let the event be bigger. Because he came from a sports family. I know he's done this before. And so I'd really believe that he is going to be okay. I believe, and I think that's also going to be a separator.
All right, who's your pick to win?
Kansas City.
I got the Niners.
Score.
$45-38.
They say it's going to be
MVP Nick Bosa.
Wow. Okay. I got Kansas City 42,
I was about to say like 16 or
I want to
something.
say 17. Like, I want to say 42-17. Like, that's my feeling in Kansas
MVP?
City. Mahomes.
Mahomes?
Yeah, 100%. Mahomes.
Not Tyrone Matthew? Not
Mahomes.
Kelsey?
Nope. Mahomes.
Not Tyreek Hill? Robinson? Hardman?
See, listen to that. Like, you throwing out how many people could be MVP. So yeah, I just definitely think that it's going to be that. I know.
I'm really hoping it didn't cut off.
No, I didn't cut off. Hold on. We're going to pause it just a second. All right, so we just realized that our video card filled up, and so we're still kind of running through this and figuring it all out. So
we'll just do the audio.
Yeah, it'll just be, so if all of a sudden it popped up to just handsome pictures of us, then you know why. So yeah, I think what you just said, in the sense of
just all those stars,
like how those people could step up, like, and try to do that with
Niners.
Niners.
Sanders, Garoppolo,
Sherman.
Kittle, Sherman, Bosa, Debo Samuel. Did I say Samuel or Sanders?
You said Sanders.
Like those are all Mostert, Breida.
You can't say Mostert.
Yes, you can.
You cannot. How could you say Mostert wasn't even a name until
Yes,
last weekend.
He was like one of
Or
the
2 weeks ago.
He was like the starter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but he wasn't. No.
But he showed he can play. He shows.
He had a great, and again, that's why. That's the hardest part to me when it comes to a lot of the stuff, because the guy goes out and had an amazing game. He had a lifetime game. But every time somebody goes out and has a lifetime game, all of a sudden you're like, oh, he hasn't been an issue for 16 games, 17 games. He hadn't been an issue.
Kittle like a finish.
And then all of a sudden he has this quote unquote breakout game, and now everybody's like think that he is.
I don't think you can say quote unquote. I mean, he had like 300 something, 313
No, he had 13
yards and 5 touchdowns.
What I mean by quote unquote is that now all of a sudden people are saying, oh, he's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a bigger factor. And if they rely on him to be a factor, and he doesn't have that another career game, they're shot down in the water.
Who do you think is gonna have a better game, Kittle or Kelsey? Kelsey? They're both such.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Such elite.
Yeah.
Tight ends. So
I definitely think Kelsey, because I think if the offense clicks on all cylinders like I think they're going to, I think Kelsey is going to end up with some balls coming his way, and I think
the Texans game, I hated it. You had him on your fantasy team, and every single he had like out of the 4 first touchdowns, he had like 3 of them, and they just kept going to Kelsey. It was annoying.
Yeah. So
is that it?
That's gonna be pretty much it. We got let's see, we have
I think we've touched on everything.
Yeah, we touched on the season. We touched on the XFL. We touched on what we think's gonna happen in the game, and so yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know if I want to talk about Kobe. I thought about talking about Kobe.
Yeah, no.
I think maybe we'll do it on its own episode.
Yeah.
Let it settle in for a little bit, and then touch on Kobe. Touch on Kobe once that once it all kind of settles down and we get past the Super Bowl. So, we want to thank you guys. I guess I probably shouldn't. I just looked at the camera.
Yeah, me too. I was like, never mind.
We want to thank you guys for joining us. If you made it this way, I hope it was entertaining for you. And we definitely appreciate anybody that decides to take the time to listen to us. Just two boys, or the boys just talking.
The boys talk stuff.
Yeah, the boy. Yeah, if you just listen to us talk stuff, and we hope you'll come back again. Mm-hmm. And again, and one of the idea of this is for obviously adults to listen, but I think it's fun when kids can see another kid being involved and doing this. And so if you have a kid, maybe
show this to them.
Yeah, show this to them and let them listen.
Spread the word, people.
Spread the word, and then maybe it'll motivate them to go. Hey, let's do a podcast. I can honestly say that I've had feedback from other parents that think the fact that we do, that me and you do a podcast and me and RJ do they think it's really cool. And they've thought like, you know what, maybe I'll do that with my kid. And so, again, we appreciate everybody. And till next time,
Thanks for watching.
Thanks and listening and watching.
Thanks for
whatever's
watching.
going on at
Thanks
this
for
point.
watching some of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you next time.
Peace.